Good morning and welcome to the Bill Press Show, live on your radio and on Free Speech TV, also seen on TawkrTV, TawkrTV is where you can find us. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Tuesday, October 22nd. And what a big news day we have. The president went out into the Rose Garden on Monday afternoon and talked about the problems that healthcare.gov has been experiencing. He addressed the nation. He talked about how there are problems that exist with the website, but the program is strong. He gave a sound endorsement of the program. It's not going to go anywhere. So now the question is, how do we get the website fixed? The president said they're bringing in IT experts, the greatest IT experts in the country. Plus, they're going to expand it a little bit. You can now call the phone number. They're driving people to call the phone number to get your questions answered there. Meanwhile, another school shooting in Nevada. A 12-year-old student walks into school with a handgun, shoots and kills a teacher, wounds 2 students before turning the gun on himself. Another case of, does this even matter anymore? Are we even paying attention? Is there anything that can be done about gun violence in this country? We're going to talk about that. Meanwhile, the president of the United States and the president of France had a very interesting, awkward conversation yesterday. France apparently not very happy about the latest allegations of spying from the NSA. Yes, we do snoop on other countries' phone calls, including those in France. They had a big chat yesterday. Boy, I would love to hear what that was all about. Maybe the NSA got a hold of that phone call. Plus, today, Apple unveils their new iPad. We'll be following that. I'm Peter Ogburn. I'll be in with Clinton Yates, sitting in for Bill today. Tune in.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Or you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids
you.
how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? recommit to change the world.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, Tuesday, October 22nd. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. Clearly, I am not Bill Press. Bill will be back tomorrow. So for now, you're stuck with me. My name is Peter Ogburn.
My name is Clinton Yates.
You're stuck with him, too, from the Washington Post.
What's up, everybody?
We're filling in for the next 3 hours on this joyride through the news, America. Thanks for coming along. We appreciate you being there. Taking your calls at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377, all throughout the show. If you want to watch us, we are live on TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKRTV. You can watch the show. There's a little chat room there too, which is very cool because you get all kind. I mean, stuff that you can't fit into a tweet or don't want to email. There's a little chat room with a bunch of other pressers there.
Old school style, chat
right?
room. Nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. I like it. Check that out. Running the board today is Dan Henning. Mr. Henning, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Good morning.
The countdown clock continues. Dan is leaving us.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I saw the countdown clock on CNN. So.
Exactly.
So I keep abreast of what's going on.
Dan got a promotion. There's an adult theater in town that needs a new janitor, and so it's a step up. Basically.
Yes, it is a step up from this place.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you call 866-55-PRESS, you will be lucky enough to talk to Alicia Cruz, who is standing by. Alicia, good morning. And doing what he can. He's giving it all she's got, Captain. On the videos this morning is Cyprian Bolding, who has his work cut out for him this morning. Cyprian, good morning. Thank you for being there. So, Clinton, you've written and talked about the issue of the Washington football team and the controversy around their name better than anybody else that I know.
Thank you.
Except for maybe the Onion.
Yeah.
Except for maybe the Onion.
Very true.
Yesterday, as you put it, total haymaker.
Total haymaker.
Total haymaker. I'm going to read this as carefully as I can. And you all know by now the controversy surrounding the name of the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
We all think that, in this room anyway, that they should change the name. The time has come. And Dan Snyder, the owner of the team, continues to hold fast and say, no, we're not going to change it. We're not going to change it. Well, the Onion, their headline yesterday, Redskins Jewish slur that I'm not going to say on air that starts with a K.
Yep.
Redskins slur owner refuses to change team's offensive name. Denying widespread claims of the franchise as being offensive or disrespectful, the Washington Redskins blank owner announced Monday that he remains steadfast in his refusal to change the team's derogatory name. Now,
the shock value here is important to understand. A lot of people I discussed this with on Twitter and elsewhere said, it's really, really base of the Onion to dip down to insults for the purposes of making a point, which, if you are paying attention, is exactly the point. Beyond the satire, the notion here to imply that it is less of an insult to call somebody one slur than it is to call somebody another is the entirety of the problem.
It is so the piece is so smart it makes my head hurt.
It's brilliant, yeah. And a lot of people, I've said to people, listen, what was the first thing you thought when you saw that word? People were aghast, they were stunned, and if that's what happens to you when you see that one word, you should understand the context within people understand the other word to exist in. And that's why, like I said, this was so smart. Even if it did come across as over the top and it did come across as, quite frankly, vulgar, that's the entire point. The name of that franchise is vulgar in many minds. Never mind the imagery that is obviously exploitative.
Yeah, I mean, if you're offended by this word that they use, okay,
reconsider your stance on the team.
Exactly.
That's
now
the
you know
whole
how
point.
a lot of people feel.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
I mean,
no,
it just really hammers it home. If you think it was too far, let us know. 866-55-PRESS or find us at BP Show. I'm going to tweet this out so that you can see exactly what I'm talking
just read
about.
It, yeah.
I mean, just read it. I mean, and it goes further. There are other
there are other generalizations and sort of old school insults used, and it's it's by no means. We're sort of joking about it now because we understand the concept of the comedy, but it's not funny. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
In a satirical sense, it'll make you laugh if you understand it. But if you read that straight, there's nothing funny about it. And I think that's the whole point they're trying to make, and they make it very well.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely go check that out. All right, it's 11 minutes past the hour. We have a jam-packed show today. Arthur Delaney from the Huffington Post is going to be joining us here in about 20 minutes. He's going to come in studio along with It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, so we're talking to Igor Volsky from Think Progress, and they have just a ton of great stuff and a lot of other wonderful things coming up later on today. But we're going to start the show talking about the president speaking in the Rose Garden about healthcare, the healthcare.gov website, and the problems it's been having. We'll get right into that. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Other headlines making news on this Tuesday. Christmas came early last night. The New York Giants got their first win of this season on Monday Night Football. The former Super Bowl champions defeated the Minnesota Vikings 23-7, holding former MVP Adrian Peterson to just 28 yards rushing. Giants kicker Josh Brown put up 3 field goals. Eli Manning threw a touchdown pass, plus handed off another for a run. The Giants now a great 1-6, got their biggest lead of the season in a game so far last night.
I mean, congratulations.
The best play of that game came when Jared Allen sacked Eli Manning around another guy with one arm.
With one arm.
He brought down both
of
them. Yeah, so this guy's engaged in his block. Allen reaches around him, drags Eli and his teammate down on one play. It was amazing.
Wow.
Jared Allen is a beast.
I didn't watch a moment of that game.
No, I didn't watch 1 second of it either, but I saw that play.
Yeah, saw the highlight.
Well, congratulations, Dan. You officially have won a game against one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Yes. I am so
Wear it proudly.
Elated.
Wear it proudly.
3-13 this year.
Wow.
We'll beat the Redskins once. Jim Leland helped get the Detroit Tigers into the American League Championship Series, but that's all she wrote. The longtime manager who led the Tigers to 2 pennants in 8 seasons announced his retirement yesterday, saying he's turning 69 and the fuel is getting a little low. It's not a full retirement. He still plans to work with the club in some capacity, but wants to retire as a Tiger.
There's a ballpark not far from here.
Not that far.
That we like to go to occasionally to watch a game. Would love to see Jimmy Leland smoking heaters in the dugout at NASCAR.
They're looking for a manager.
I'm just saying.
They're looking for a manager right here in Washington, D.C.
The mistress that Congressman Mark Sanford of South Carolina left his wife for back when he was governor has spoken out for the first time. Maria Belen-Shapur tells an Argentinian TV station that she's happy being with Sanford, but it's become more difficult now that he's serving in Congress. She offered no apology for what happened in 2009, only saying they're having a great life together now, spending time between Washington, South Carolina, and Buenos Aires.
This is one of those rare scenarios when I kind of somewhat honestly believe this is real.
Absolutely. 100%.
He just didn't have it in him to make a change, and he goofed up the way that he did it. But this seems to be, because this is sort of a strange time for a story like this to come out, but for her to speak out on a story that was so long ago. But, I tend to believe her.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, that's why I think when he was running for election in South Carolina, there's a big difference between going to prostitutes and frequenting prostitutes and making your wife come up to the podium with you and look at, and all this whole thing, as opposed to just saying, you know what, my wife and I fell out of love. I fell in love with someone else.
Yeah.
It happens to a lot of people.
It sucks from a personal family standpoint, but if he's not lying, he's not lying.
Yeah, well, Good for them, I guess. If those starry-eyed kids can't make it, what hope is there for the rest of us, All right, so we talked about it yesterday. We knew this was coming. The president went into the Rose Garden yesterday. Beautiful day, by the way, to be outside. So I'm glad he held it outside. Went to the Rose Garden and started making the case for what's going on with healthcare.gov, the plagued website that people have had so many problems with.
I like what you did there.
Yeah, right. So he's sort of making the case that, look, we have a problem with the website, but our product is good.
The product is good. The health insurance that's being provided is good. It's high quality and it's affordable. People can save money.
And that's the big thing here that I think people are missing. It's okay. So we've had some glitches with the website, and it's bad. And I think they deserve to get a little heat over it and why they didn't have it ready to roll out when it was time to roll out. But at the end of the day, they've got 476,000 people already signed up. That's almost 500,000 people that didn't have it before. This is working, just not as fast as people would like.
We talked about tone yesterday with a couple of the guests that we had, and I thought his tone was it was a bit much. It didn't seem as, not conciliatory, but it didn't seem as explanatory. Yeah. I felt very much like I was being told that I was supposed to like it, as opposed to a more explanation type approach. I think that would have done him a little better, considering where things ended up going later down along the line in the speech. It just seemed that he started off a bit too aggressively for something that was a conceded problem within what his goals were that he was trying to achieve.
I still don't understand what happened with the website. He didn't say, this is what happened. This is what we're going to do to fix. He mentioned there was some heavy traffic. He mentioned there were a lot of flaws. But tell me what happened.
Right.
I think we deserve to know that. What he did say, though, is we're going to have this fight over the website, but it's sort of misplaced.
Yeah. We did not wage this long and contentious battle just around a website. That's not what this was about.
No,
good point.
But now that we're here, This one is about that, And I believe it was a New York Times story that detailed what the actual issues were with coding and so forth. Even though I'm not some, internet super savvy person, at least tell me, like you said, tell me what is actually going on. There's 500 million lines of code or whatever that needs to be fixed. That's a scary thought.
It's terrifying.
And I just felt that the way that he approached this. It was a little, this is going to sound weird, it was a little too presidential from my stance. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wanted a little bit more of Barack just telling me what's going on, and that never happened.
We've seen him get angry or sort of elevated his attitude a couple of times, and I think he could do it with great effectiveness, right?
Yeah.
Because he so rarely does it that when it happens, you go, oh, damn, okay.
All right, I'm paying attention.
yeah, you got me now. So I don't think he did that. I don't think he really spelled it out yesterday of what the problems were. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number, 866-557-7377. I want to hear what you have to say about that. The interesting thing that I sort of shook my head when I heard it is, well, good news. We're having these problems on the website, but we do have some good news. We have the phone number prominently placed there, so you can call us.
That was a little weird.
I'm sorry.
It sounded a little bit like a home shopping network kind of thing, and it was like, what is happening here? Like, we get it on FlexPay, like that kind of thing. And it was just, exactly. To me, I just felt like he didn't, I don't think he had a clear goal when he got out there.
Nope.
And kind of winged it.
Yep.
And that came across as clear because it sort of fell apart towards the end, especially with everything happening with the lady standing behind him. And it was just an oddball. It was a very strange ending to that whole talk. And I don't think it did him very many favors, to be honest. If you graded this, I think you're in the B to C range and you're well out of the A range, personally.
When the biggest takeaways from this speech, right, are that they're pushing people to call now instead of use the website.
Yeah, that means that you have no faith in what you're doing, at least from the web. And that's fine. Listen, if they don't think they can deliver, don't overpromise.
Exactly.
But don't act as if the left hand right hand maneuver is not going to work when everybody can see both of your hands out in front of you. It just doesn't make sense.
And the other big takeaway, of course, is that there was a pregnant diabetic woman right behind the president. Directly behind the president, who started to faint during his speech yesterday. This is, obviously there's not a lot of sound to her fainting, but this is what it sounded like. She sort of fell his direction. He sort of helped stabilize her and keep her up. This is what it sounded like.
The pervasive fear that one illness. There you go. You're okay. I got you. Yeah. No, you're okay. This happens when I talk too long. You'll be okay. Here, why don't you go? You got it?
You got it? Okay. Bye now. Go lay down. Get some water. She's fine, by the way.
Right.
She's totally
catch,
fine.
by the way.
As evidenced by her media tour.
She did some media yesterday.
But I don't understand why we're continuing to trot out these rando Americans just to stand behind the president to prove a point. I mean, it's not like, I'm sorry, do you think that he's lying when he says, oh, by the way, there are people that actually have had benefits from this? I'm going to presume he's not just making that up.
Right.
Sticking a gallery of people behind has always been awkward to me.
There were, what, like 8 people behind him?
From a presentation
like
presentation standpoint, it's just weird. You know, it's more distraction. I don't know. I just don't understand that personally. I don't know why the White House continues to do it.
I think that's a good point. Yeah, he could have just come out and addressed it. I think it would have been, honestly, more powerful for him to just come out and talk.
Definitely.
Now we're stuck talking about the woman who fainted while he was talking instead of what he talked about. It's 21 minutes past the hour. Did the president tell you what you wanted to hear? Did he solve the problem of healthcare.gov? Do you now have faith that they can get it up and running? And are you satisfied with the solution of, just give us a call. We'll get it sorted out. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. 866-557-7377. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm here with Clinton Yates. We're filling in for Bill all day. Give us a call.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates in for Bill today. Short on time. Want to get your calls in. Let's go to John in Ferndale, Washington, on the president's address yesterday about the healthcare.gov problems. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. My takeaway yesterday was, look, the Affordable Care Act is, like the president said, is not about this website exclusively, and there's a phone number. They'll get the website fixed. The good news is that we are going to have health care in the United States for everyone. And that's my takeaway is that, there's going to be glitches and bumps and hiccups along the way, but we'll get there. I trust the president.
The bad news in that scenario, though, is that even if you do call in, the systems for signing people up are still based on what the website is built on. So it's not just like fixing the website or asking people to call in is necessarily going to change everything immediately. You've got a whole backlog of things you've got to change there for it to work at all, and that's something to keep in mind.
It's going to take time.
Yeah, it will take time. But I think the president, the best thing that he did say is, this is not about the website. This is about the product, and the product is good, and we stand by it. Let's go to Melvin in South Bend, Indiana. Melvin, thanks for calling.
Good morning, gentlemen, and I second the motion that the young man just put out there. The problem we have is the president should and always does make it clear to not just the high-educated Americans, but to everyone. And those people who are in areas where the Internet does not exist should get an 800 number. And I found nothing wrong with his explanation. If you look at the guy from Washington, it's up and running. Oregon, it's up and running. California, up and running. New York, up and running. The state that did not address the issue, the states, not the president, it's the software company, and it's those who implemented it.
All right, thanks, Melvin. I appreciate the good call. Maybe that's my own bias because I always just...
No, that's a good point. Maybe they should have been pushing the internet so hard over phones to begin with.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point, I think. All right. We'll keep taking your calls, 866-55-PRESS on this. Plus, we're talking to Huffington Post, Arthur Delaney.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
There's no sugarcoating it. The website has been too slow. People have been getting stuck during the application process. And I think it's fair to say that nobody's more frustrated by that than I am.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. I'm Peter Ogburn.
Hi, I'm Clinton Yates.
And we are filling in for Bill today on this Tuesday, October 22nd. I thought it was interesting that the president came out and said there's no way to sugarcoat it after he spent about 15 minutes
I was going to say, he
sugarcoating it.
The greater part of the speech, sugarcoating
he
it.
sugarcoated a lot of stuff. Well, it's Tuesday, 6:30 a.m. East Coast time. At this time of day, every Tuesday, we always talk to our friend from the Huffington Post, Arthur Delaney. Arthur, how are you?
Good.
Thank you for coming in.
Great to be here.
With the backup squad.
During that Rose Garden speech yesterday, because it was a fundamentally silly sort of situation, I kept thinking the president was going to look at the camera and say, "Live from New York, it's Saturday night."
You know what's funny, though, is like I'm normally not a Leno guy, but Jay Leno, I think, last night hit the nail on the head with this whole issue.
Regarding the Obamacare website glitches, the president says he's bringing in the best and the brightest to solve the problem. Here's Michael, why didn't we bring in the best and the brightest in the first place? You see? No, wait. See, this is typical Washington. They only bring in the best and the brightest as a last resort. All right, let's see it. Well, and you know what's going to happen once they bring in the best and the brightest? More American jobs lost to India. Right there. There you go, right there. Exactly.
Unnecessary. But this is what I was saying all day yesterday. When he have to point out that the White House is bringing in the best and the brightest, you wonder, what are they doing otherwise? Because, hello, I thought that was the whole point of being the White House.
Part of the story is that they say we were too hobbled in getting this started because of Republicans denying funding for the startup. But I don't find that very persuasive. Yeah. It's a website we're talking about.
Right. I mean, we were still able to, find time to drone other countries and all this other type of stuff. I mean, they could have found the cash.
It's Obama.
Right, exactly.
It's change. And, 1 million donations through the internet, 4 years in a row. What gives? So
we were trying, like the three of us, right? Like none of us write code for websites that I know of. And so, Clinton, as you pointed out, one specialist said there were as many as 5 million lines of software code may need to be rewritten before the healthcare.gov website runs properly, which,
if nothing else, sounds like a
lot.
pretty sloppy job. Pretty, slipshod way to roll something out. If that, I mean, again, I don't know if 5 million lines of code is a 6-week job or a 3-hour job.
Right.
But I do know that that's a big number. And how do you roll something out with that much up in the air? I just don't understand.
I was telling you, there's a guy in my office who writes code, and it looks like the Matrix screen.
Just like it's a black screen with he doesn't run on Windows.
It's gobbledygook.
Right,
I don't know what
exactly.
it is. I don't know what he's doing. He makes maps. We have these great election maps.
Okay,
but
yeah.
The code does not look like a map. It looks like gibberish.
It does eventually.
It's very intimidating
when it's translated. It's a
So, what'd you think about the effectiveness of the speech yesterday?
It knocked that lady out.
I guess I set that up.
I didn't.
That was a legit question, but I guess I walked right into that.
I don't know if that was good or really bad that was happening. It was impressive that Obama sort of, I don't know if people were talking behind him or muttering, but seemed to notice that something was wrong.
There was some commotion.
And turned around right as this lady was falling down.
Good court vision, as they say.
That's right.
He seemed to know.
He is a basketball
like,
player.
What's going on here?
He knows.
But I think doing that was definitely better than just getting beat up all day long, every day, by Republicans and the press for having a bad website. And it is a bad website. You don't even have to be an expert. Go try to use it.
Yeah.
You don't get past 2 screens before it says, sorry, come back later.
Yeah. No, I mean, I haven't tried to use it in a couple of days, but we tried early on, and it was a nightmare. But I also think that woman fainting is sort of the story out of it yesterday, not that, because I don't think he did a great job explaining what the problem is or how they're going to fix it.
He did not explain what the problem is.
I still don't know what it is.
There is no explanation. What if it's hackers?
Yeah, it could be.
There has been a tiny amount of speculation that that's what it is. But the woman fainting, is he literally killing people? Or is he giving them care? Because he gave that lady care. It's a metaphor for everybody, that woman fainting.
Any good takeaways from yesterday at all, in your opinion?
I do think it was the right thing for Obama to do, to be sort of on offense, even though it's strange to be talking about computer problems and the president of the United States to be reading an 800 number in his speech. But better than not doing anything and just getting beat up. And then Kathleen Sebelius will testify on the Hill. So it's not like they're hiding from it. Right. And I think it's such an obvious problem that's what Lanny Davis would tell them to do. An obvious PR correct move. But it's not necessarily the disaster it seems in the first 3 weeks, because some enrollment numbers are coming in.
I mean, the fact that they had almost 500,000 people.
Well, we don't know the 500,000.
The White House.
They needed 500,000 enrolled by the end of the month.
Right.
They said they have just about 500,000 sign up at the website, but that's different than getting enrolled.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And one weird thing about yesterday is they had like 10 people who they said were Obamacare success stories. And at least half of them in the White House official bio that they sent to the press. Those people were not enrolled. They had just been to the website.
Jesus.
And it was Byron York at the conservative Washington Examiner who pointed that out, but completely legitimate point. Those people hadn't even signed up for Obamacare yet, but they were like looking forward to it.
Another reason why I said trotting these people out is very rarely a positive move.
They one time brought somebody out who'd had like unemployment held up because of a congressional standoff in 2010, and then that person turned out to have a bad criminal record from the recent few years. They've made mistakes before.
You know what was an interesting point that was brought up by Kate Nocera yesterday? We had her in studio, and she was saying that like a lot of people will wait until the absolute last minute to go to the website and get signed up or whatever. So if there are any issues with traffic and everybody starts going there on, what is it, December 15th, you have to be.
Or the 14th.
If you go on December 14th at 10 o'clock at night, what happens if everybody does that?
The concern is that is especially what the healthy people who are kind of casual about buying health insurance in the first place. They're going to be less committed.
Right.
And those are the ones you need the most to sign up, or else the Obamacare death spiral happens, in which only sick people sign up and the risk pool is totally out of whack and the whole law falls apart.
Jesus.
But okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
There are no national enrollment figures yet. Which is not that weird. And there are other programs, they do these kinds of statistics by the month and not by the week.
Right.
But several states have said They're signing people up. New York.
I just saw 150,000 in New York.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's good for Obamacare. So it's not all bad news, but it is mostly bad news.
Okay, good.
At this point, yeah.
That's the Delaney Downer.
Yeah, I was
like
about
that.
to say,
There's
you're
some
such a
good news.
Delaney Downer.
And by the way, I didn't mention this when we were introducing you. If you're not signed up to HuffPost Hill, the daily newsletter that comes out from the Huffington Post, you really should go sign up. It's fantastic. Go check that out.
Is Obamacare today's daily Delaney Downer?
Yeah, just
Obamacare.
It may yet be. The newsletter comes out in the evening, so we have all day to find out what is the saddest.
A lot of bad news
depressing-
can happen between now and then, man.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick call on this. Darren in Lakewood, Colorado. Darren, thanks for calling.
Hey, thank you. I signed up.
Okay.
Hey!
All right, tell us all about it. This is fast. This is exciting.
Actually, it took me 2 times to go through the system.
That's not
They
bad.
That's not horrible.
Kicked me back, and I'm a self-employed woodworker here in Lakewood, and I think it's great because I got coverage.
What are your premiums? What are your deductibles looking like? Can you tell us anything about the plan you got?
Well, yeah, sure. It's looking like I'm going to have to pay about $10 a month because I have a daughter who's disabled. So, she's on Medicaid.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just paying for, me pretty much.
And is that with the subsidies that they talk about?
Yes, sir. Well,
Wow, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
were you
that's
totally
fantastic.
uninsured previously?
yes, sir.
Wow.
How many man hours did you put into the entirety of this process? From signing up and educating yourself to getting to where you wanted to be.
Well, I actually got an insert in the paper that I read, finally. And, I read through it, and I thought, okay, well, this is a good deal. I don't want to go on Medicaid. I didn't want to do that. So, I want to pay for myself. That's, the way I was brought up. And so, I read through that, and I thought, okay, well, I'll just get on the website and just do it.
But it didn't work the first time, but you did finally get through.
The first time, I put in my password and got a lot of information in, and then it said, okay, well, your actual password is not correct.
Huh.
So it kicked me back to the first page.
All right.
And it's kind of frustrating. But,
Yeah.
But with anything, we all expect things to happen, just right now.
Absolutely.
Sure.
With our society, we just think things are going to just, appear, and everything is going to be magical. And it's not, it takes time.
All right. Takeaway. Things are not magical. Thank you for the call, Darren. No, seriously, I appreciate
At least
that.
he
That's
got
a
what he
good
was looking-
story,
at least he
man.
got what he was looking
amazing.
for,
No,
yeah.
seriously. All right. Well, thanks for the call, Darren. Congratulations on getting health care. All right. See, it's working.
The Bill Press Show found an enrollee
There you go.
in 2 minutes.
There you go. Yeah. That
We had
didn't
a
take
couple
long.
yesterday, too.
Yeah,
Okay. Couple.
We're getting there.
Couple.
All right. So it's 44 minutes past the hour. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Peter Ogburn, Clinton Yates, Arthur Delaney, all in studio. Taking your calls, 866-55-PRESS.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. When I say dot, I want you to just push the area.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn.
My name is Clinton Yates.
And we are filling in for Bill today. We're tweeting throughout the show @BP Show, by the way, if you want to follow along there. I'm also tweeting @Peter Ogburn. He's tweeting @Clinton Yates, YATES. And our guest is Huffington Post reporter Arthur Delaney. You also tweet @Arthur Delaney HP.
Thank you.
Yeah, follow Arthur on Twitter.
2 of us in this room are verified.
Oh.
Raise your hand. Oh, boy.
That hurts. That actually hurts.
Just,
Clinton, you follow me
Just
on Twitter.
I
You
do
not
follow
me.
Yes, Pete is a
I
great
do follow
follower.
you.
I don't think you do.
And I'm desperate for more followers.
Well, I follow you, but seriously, you follow these two gentlemen before you follow me, because they're verified. By the way, we that was dirty. That was dirty.
I just figured I'd slip that in before we moved on.
I mean, you have to. I mean, if you're, that's one of the things you get to do when you're verified.
It's brag culture.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I don't know what it means as a verified person.
Do you get any perks? I mean, does anything come? I'm asking genuinely.
I don't know.
It's not like a gold card or anything?
No. Honestly, the perks is that when you're in an argument with somebody about something, all of the sort of like people from the woodwork, those people go away. You know what I'm saying? It's typically people who really want to argue with you and have a serious point. All these like random jokers that are out there just trying to troll and throw pot shots, it either goes up astronomically or it just drops precipitously. So for me, it's dropped a lot because I don't play that. So but it's been interesting.
Plus, you're married. You're not married. But if you imagine if you ever get in a fight with your wife, she's like, you know what, honey? Have you looked at Twitter recently?
Not sure that's going to work.
I'm verified on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure I can fit in that parking spot.
Arthur, does your wife follow you on Twitter?
She does, but her account is dormant. She doesn't use it.
Yeah,
it's just one of those.
You think
one of those
dormant.
little eggs?
Oh, yeah, right.
No, I know it's dormant. I got it spammed me once.
Oh, really?
Like, honey, your dormant Twitter account has been corrupted and it's just sending links.
Gotcha. Yeah, but it means nothing. I was just throwing that out there.
All right. So we talked yesterday a little bit about Ted Cruz, and I mean, he was certainly, if there was a winner out of the shutdown, he was kind of a winner in the sense that now a lot more people know who the hell he is. And I think...
would you call him Victor Cruz?
Thank you.
Wow. Bye. So we'll say he probably got the biggest bump out of the shutdown if we're going to look at it in those terms. So he went back to Texas. Apparently, they still love him in Texas. Most of the country looks at him as this, divider, smug, arrogant. Kind of guy.
Wacko is the word.
Wacko. Yeah. You hear a lot. He went back to Texas and he had a big welcome home party last night in Houston.
All the polls say Congress is less popular than ever. But back home, these people who say they hate Congress don't hate their guy.
Right.
They elected these people, and they don't really. They collectively hate. They don't hate individually. Is my
inherent
suspicion.
Problem.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's a rub that you can't really solve.
Yeah. I mean, if everybody hates Congress and yet the people that are going home are loved by their district, then they're going to keep coming back, and we're going to keep having these problems. So I don't know how we break that cycle. I don't know how someone screws up so bad that their district.
You can't even going to jail doesn't even do it unless you are literally confined to jail and therefore cannot return to Washington.
Right.
But you'll still be like popular in your hometown.
Right.
Ted Cruz went home and he said, "It's great to be back in real America."
Yeah, in Houston.
Most people live in cities, though, is just a fact in this country. So whatever,
and it's
man.
also, it's that whole idea of painting a certain area as not real America is such BS.
This pushes the theory of the problem, which is that if you think where you live is better than where somebody else lives by just simple human existence, obviously you're going to like your guy over somebody else when it comes to representation nationally, and that it's notions like that we're in real America that further push that notion of it's not really about the greater good, it's about ours versus yours, and that's really unfortunate.
But no one, do members from urban districts go into, go stand on the corner by like a liquor store and say, "This is real America"? It doesn't happen, but it should,
right?
Because that is real America.
That is real America.
More people live there.
What's not real America?
Well, that's the bigger point, is that just because more people live somewhere doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only thing that matters, and what's not real America is, I think a more important question, quite frankly, than what is real America.
People probably shouldn't. Fine. Someone wants to go home and praise his district as real America. He actually did not specify that he was excluding all other parts of America from real America. So maybe people are too quick to take umbrage to that. I know Chris Matthews was raving angry about it.
What isn't he raving angry about?
It's a day that ends in Y.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Arthur Delaney from the Huffington Post, thank you so much for being here. Follow him on Twitter, Arthur Delaney HP.
He's verified.
He's verified, so you got to follow him. And follow more at HuffingtonPost.com and sign up for HuffPost Hill.
Thanks, fellas.
I think we got them all. Thanks. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Thanks for coming in.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
who they might have been, no more.
If we had just done something yesterday.
It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates sitting in. By the way, this is a fascinating story about the most hated players in the NFL. So we'll count backwards. Number 5 is Mark Sanchez for the Jets.
Butt fumble.
Number 4 is Ben Roethlisberger.
Yikes.
Number 3, Ndamukong Suh from the Lions.
Dirty player.
Number 2, Manti Te'o, which I don't
understand that at all.
We're talking about the most hated players in the NFL.
Guy's barely on the radar in the NFL at this point.
Number 1, and I think this is the Lifetime Achievement Award. I don't think he'll ever not get this, is Michael Vick.
Yeah, people love dogs.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's done his time.
I think so,
too. He's kept clean since everything. I don't know why he's the most disliked player in the NFL. Anyway, give us a call or shoot us a tweet about your most disliked player in the NFL at BP Show. Back for 2 more hours next.
Is the Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Good morning and welcome to the Bill Press Show, live on your radio and on Free Speech TV, also seen on TawkrTV, TawkrTV is where you can find us. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Tuesday, October 22nd, and what a big news day we have. The president went out into the Rose Garden on Monday afternoon and talked about the problems that healthcare.gov has been experiencing. He addressed the nation. He talked about how there are problems that exist with the website, but the program is strong. He gave a sound endorsement of the program. It's not going to go anywhere. So now the question is, how do we get the website fixed? The president said they're bringing in IT experts, the greatest IT experts in the country. Plus, they're going to expand it a little bit. You can now call the phone number. They're driving people to call the phone number to get your questions answered there. Meanwhile, another school shooting in Nevada. A 12-year-old student walks into school with a handgun, shoots and kills a teacher, wounds 2 students before turning the gun on himself. Another case of, does this even matter anymore? Are we even paying attention? Is there anything that can be done about gun violence in this country? We're going to talk about that. Meanwhile, the president of the United States and the president of France had a very interesting, awkward conversation yesterday. France apparently not very happy about the latest allegations of spying from the NSA. Yes, we do snoop on other countries' phone calls, including those in France. They had a big chat yesterday. Boy, I would love to hear what that was all about. Maybe the NSA got a hold of that phone call. Plus, today, Apple unveils their new iPad. We'll be following that. I'm Peter Ogburn. I'll be in with Clinton Yates, sitting in for Bill today. Tune in.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show live on your favorite progressive radio station, streaming audio and streaming video. YouTube.com/TawkrTV is the place to watch us. Join in the conversation there. There's a chat room there. We're tweeting all throughout the show at BP Show. I'm also tweeting at Peter Ogburn, OGBURN, as is my co-host for today.
Clinton Yates is my name.
Clinton Yates from the Washington Post. You can find him on Twitter at Clinton Yates. That's YATES, a must follow for all things Washington news, anything.
I follow.
Oh, I'll get to you. I'll
sorry,
get to you.
just wanted
Pipe
to
down.
say something.
Running the board today is Dan Henning. Mr. Henning, how are you?
Good morning.
Not much longer for this world. Dan has taken a new job. He's leaving us. We're very sad to see Dan go. He got a promotion. He's going to be cleaning the bathrooms at the McDonald's down the street, so it's a step up for him.
It's a bigger and brighter future.
Yeah, sure. There's a smile on every aisle at your DC Walmart, Dan, and you're just the guy to help them with that. If you call 866-55-PRESS, the voice you will hear will be that of Alicia Cruz, who is standing by to take your calls, and keeping us on the air is Cyprian Bolding on the videos in there. So thank you all so much for being here. Also, Igor Volsky is here. Finally, we get to you. Think Progress is managing editor Tuesdays with Igor. He's here.
Tweed Tuesdays, by the way, for those of you who have been paying attention on the
we didn't trade
telly.
jackets.
I was going to say, did you roll Arthur for his jacket out there? Because he was wearing a tweed
didn't coordinate.
situation.
We will next time.
Okay. Well, our next guests later in the later hours, Catherine Hollander from the National Journal and Elise Foley.
Should I leave this here for her?
Post. You should leave that so that we have continuity for the guests. So, Igor, when you walked in, you spied my wallet on the thing. You were saying it's a big. I don't think it's that big of a wallet, is it? I mean,
it's got the size makeup of like a Five Guys Junior hamburger.
Yes,
yes,
exactly.
This is actually a burger.
That's what reminded me.
I actually keep a burger in my pocket.
Now, Seinfeld fans will know that. Do you pull the George Costanza and put napkins in your other back pocket so you sit evenly? Do you remember that episode?
I do remember that episode, but I don't do that.
I do.
That is a massive wallet.
So what's going on in there?
I'm looking at what I got. All right, so I've got my license. I got a credit card. I got my AMC Stubbs card for the movies.
Oh,
seriously?
Yeah.
Come on.
You got to digitize that.
You know what?
That's
digitized.
one thing.
That's one thing
has
gone.
To be digitized.
That's one thing gone. That's digitized.
Yeah.
Okay. I got my club thing for the driving range.
Okay.
That's a Best Buy store credit. Don't want to lose that. I can throw that. My performance bike buyers club away.
So I introduced you to a new concept that I didn't realize was something that people didn't know about, though.
Dude, this is crazy.
My wallet, which is one that, hello, Ma, thank you. She got me an RFID signal block.
I never heard of this.
Which basically means that it lowers the risk of getting your credit card information stolen and so forth. But it means that when I ride the train, I've got to take my Smart Trip card out of the wallet because you can't do that through the leather thing. But that's a task I'm willing to do in order to prevent myself from being.
I didn't know
frauded.
that was a thing, though.
Yeah, man.
People could get in there and take that
It works.
stuff.
And it's not like it's some crazy looking thing. It's just a regular wallet, but they line it with whatever to prevent.
Fascinating. Wow. It's terrifying.
Wow.
It works though. So
one thing I'm not going to get rid of is my Red Robin card.
Robin.
I've never been to Red Robin.
There's no reason to go.
Oh.
You know what?
Well, give it to me. I'll go.
You know why I go to Red Robin is if you have kids, you've probably been to Red Robin, because if you want to go somewhere that is so loud and offensive that no matter what your child does, no one else will notice.
Right.
You go to Red Robin. It is the most. It's insane. We call it the Hamburger Thunderdome because you walk in and it's just chaos.
Wow.
It's total chaos. All right. Anyway, so I'll clean up my wallet. Thank you for drawing that out. Lots of stuff to talk about, by the way, on Obamacare's bumpy rollout, as you call it, on Think Progress. We're going to get into that. We'll go through that with you. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Other headlines making news on this Tuesday. Celebrities, they're just like us.
Do you have a big wallet? Do you have a big fat wallet situation? It's not like it's stuffed with money. It's just paper.
Mine's not the smallest wallet, but
new McDonald's paycheck is going to be filling it up.
Right.
Celebrities, they are just like us. Kanye West rented out AT&T Park in San Francisco last night. That's where the Giants play. He proposed to Kim Kardashian.
Wow.
E-Online reports that she said yes in front of many of their friends and family in the stands. It will be her third marriage.
In his stands?
What?
Yeah.
That's not
what
how you
was
do
happening
it.
on the field?
Well, I guess he was. I mean, they were on the field in the stands.
Well, you can't have
in the
anybody
stadium.
else stealing that spotlight on the field. I mean, that's his.
Right. So it'll be her third marriage, his first. The proposal comes just a few months after the birth of their baby, Northwest. Interesting to note they have actually been together longer now as a couple than she was married to Chris Humphries.
And she was married for what, 71 days?
72, yep.
72 days.
Good for them.
You give them every day. I don't want to short them any days.
American power couple.
Cue the Tebow mania. NFL.com reporting the St. Louis Rams are discussing the possibility of signing Tim Tebow, who is currently without a job. This comes after their starter, number 1 overall pick Sam Bradford, tore his ACL Sunday and is likely out for the rest of the season from the 3-4 team.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, great. Get on the field, make some plays. Otherwise,
exactly.
It is not Tebow time anymore.
And a violin that
I told you, though. I told you my idea of what he should have done is he should have just stopped and cashed out and opened a steakhouse. Tim Tebow's T-Bones.
There we go. You'll have a card in your wallet for that. That sounds good.
Exactly. I'd sign up.
And a violin that was played on the Titanic sold at auction in London over the weekend for $1.7 million. Washington Post report says the violin, famously played by the band leader right up until the ship sank after striking the iceberg in 1912, it is the highest price paid for any salvaged item off of that sunken ship.
How do you verify that?
They went through years of authenticity tests. They gave the violin a CT scan to look at the insides of it. Ran it through like an MRI thing.
Sounds like a major waste of money.
Right? I'm sorry.
Right?
Whatever. God. Okay, wonderful. I'm sure it's important to someone, but dropping
History.
that.
Yeah, whoever bought it.
There are people in this country who still don't have health care.
Exactly.
As we're learning every day now.
ThinkProgress.org is a place that we get a lot of our show prep. We go there every day, several times a day, because of all the great content that is put up there. We had Travis Waldron in studio yesterday,
Travis.
and now it's Tuesday with Igor. We talk to Igor Volsky every Tuesday, managing editor. So a great piece here, Igor. Your guide to Obamacare's bumpy rollout. Tell us about the bumpy rollout. Because we're optimists,
Yes.
let's start with the good. What's come out of this that's good?
The good news, and I think there is some around the country, is for the 13 states in the District of Columbia that have built their own exchanges, are managing their own websites and marketplaces, they are seeing signs of success. People are getting through, they're signing up, and when they get to the actual healthcare product, and this the president didn't sugarcoat, I think he was right. When you get to the actual plans and you compare and you see if you're eligible for subsidies, you're happy with the end result. You are seeing savings, you're getting more comprehensive benefits. The question is getting to that product and making sure that insurers see that you're enrolled and you get the correct plan and all that technology works out. That's the good news. And I think an optimist would say, well, if you can get an exchange working in New York or in California, you can scale up to the national model and it will ultimately work. The pessimist will say, it's not working, healthcare.gov right now in any real way. And if they don't fix it in 3-4 weeks, by about mid-November, they're going to really have to delay some key aspects of the law. And that's going to be a big political problem, a big policy problem, and really a stain on this administration.
I think the political problem is really going to catch up with them, and not necessarily that it should, but I think that it will, because the president sort of dodged a major story because we were in the middle of a government shutdown when this rolled out, and it was a total disaster, but everybody was really focused on the shutdown. And so if we get to a point where he's going to have to ask for more time, I don't think that Republicans are going to give an inch on that.
No, and the coverage has to start January 1st. That's a statutory date. You can't move that.
Right.
And so if he's going to have to go back and ask for a delay, what does that mean, and how much leverage do Republicans have? I think a lot at that point, but I guess we're not there yet. If you talk to the Obama folks, they'll tell you, look, we know the website is a problem. We're fixing it. We have our A-team surge, tech surge, whatever they call it.
Tech surge.
Yeah, well, I think they use that just to get McCain on board. Surge, yes. I like it. I like it. They want the Maverick on their side. They say, forget about the website, go to that number he gave out, go to the navigators, the people in the states who help you sign up, go to the community health center. And they told me yesterday that they still believe that even with the website down, that people can go to these alternative methods of signing up and they'll meet their target goals regardless of what's happening now. Now, to me, I don't know how much I buy that. I mean, I don't know how many people under 40, under 30, kind of the young, healthy folks you want to get in are going to A, call a number, or B, go to a community health center. I mean, at this point, they kind of want to just Snapchat their enrollment in to Obamacare. They don't want to go through all of this.
Connected.
Yeah, I have the latest. I have the latest apps.
Quickly, what did you think of yesterday and what the president said?
I thought he did okay. I didn't expect him to go through a whole litany of technological problems. I don't think that's his role. He tried to expand the definition of what healthcare reform is, and I think that's all right. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to matter if this whole thing works and not what he says. And if they can get it done by mid-November, they expect a surge of applicants mid-November, early December. That's when they say they're going to get the bulk of the 7 million they need by the end of the year. And if that works, that's fine. I thought his speech generally was okay. It was kind of what I expected a president to do. Now, you're going to have Sebelius testifying on October 30th, the HHS secretary. You're going to have other administrative officials there, I think, on Thursday. And they're going to have to come clean with the American people. And it's going to be their job to kind of go through the details and explain exactly what happened. The good news is I think there's a good model here. You'll remember when Medicare Part D rolled out under President Bush, many problems in the beginning, especially for low-income seniors who couldn't get their drugs, were getting the wrong drugs, pharmacists didn't have their information, and you had the head of CMS, Mark McClellan at the time, come before Congress and lay everything out on the table. Here are the problems, here is what we're doing to fix it, and eventually they fix it. Eventually it worked. The program is now very popular with seniors. You could maybe duplicate that with Obamacare, but you got to kind of be transparent with everything.
I think that the strongest argument that the president made yesterday, and Dan, grab that second clip on the product, because he essentially laid out, we believe in the product, we're just maybe having a problem getting it to you. Did you get that, Dan? Dan's not listening. I don't think Dan's listening. Dan has completely claimed that. Hey, short timer.
No. I'm here. I'm sorry.
Hey, short timer. I sent you a note and I asked you on air to play a clip. I know you're leaving and everything, but could you maybe listen to the show?
I'm here.
Is that too much to ask?
I'm here.
The clip about Obama where he talks about the product is good.
Oh, yes.
That one? Can you grab that one for me?
Let me
I'm
pull
sorry.
that
Are you
up.
busy?
While we're young.
Are you busy?
The health insurance that's being provided is good. It's high quality and it's affordable. People can save money.
That hit me.
Yes.
Nothing else. There was not a lot of stuff that he said yesterday that hit me. That hit me. Look, we've got this product. It's great. It's going to work. This is why it's going to work. Might have a little problem getting to it right now.
Let me just say one more kind of Delaney Downer kind of thing.
Oh, no.
Right now, you're seeing about 500,000 people around the country who get their coverage in the individual healthcare market getting cancellation notices. We've seen these reports all over that the plans that don't fit the standards laid out in the Affordable Care Act, so they might have very high caps or very low caps. They might not provide all the benefits you need. Those plans are getting canceled. People are getting those notices and they're told, go look in the exchanges. But if those people can't get into the exchanges, they're finding themselves in this weird
that's
limbo.
A scary situation for sure. I mean, that's something. I mean, and that's a scenario which, not that there's not any reason to be otherwise upset about it, but that's where really gets down to talk about real Americas and all that. I mean, that is a real American problem.
It's a real problem for them.
Cancellation on one end, and you're getting
you can't get in on the other.
Can't get in on the other. Exactly.
Right. All right. Well, the best and the brightest are working on it, apparently. So we'll go
that's
with
like a
that.
Vietnam term, right? So it doesn't really give me too much.
All right. Let's take a quick break. Dan, can we go to a break?
Yes.
Are we ready for a break?
Is that an option?
Are we good?
Here.
Okay. We'll take a
show myself out.
There's a lot more to talk about. We'll take a quick break. Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates sitting in for Bill today. We're joined, as always, at this time on Tuesday by Igor Volsky, Think Progress Managing Editor. We'll be back.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more? How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad, as a friend, as a husband,
As a wife.
as an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been, no more.
If we had just done something yesterday.
It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act. Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The Ad Council.
on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates sitting in for Bill today with Igor Volsky, managing editor from Think Progress, who joins us for another couple of minutes. So, Igor, on thinkprogress.org, there's all kinds of wonderful stuff up there. From politics to sports to whatever. But this story, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen over the past couple of weeks, is really disturbing. And I'm glad you guys did something about it. The Maryville rape survivor, her name is Daisy Coleman, you've probably seen her on TV by now.
14 years old, was raped by a football player, high school football player in her Missouri town in the middle of January. Left unconscious on the ground there, and charges were never filed against the perpetrator. She was shamed heavily in school, on social media, called a skank. She was asking for it. And she's speaking out, and she's really one of the few who isn't taking this quietly, who's not bowing to kind of the social pressure to keep it hush-hush, keep it quiet. I mean, it's amazing. There was, I believe, a video of this, some kind of cell phone video of this incident, yet nothing happened to the alleged rapist. And so it really, if this only happened in this one extraordinary case, we can all kind of shake our heads and say how unjust and how sad it is. But we've been covering these kinds of stories for months now. Tara Cole Pressler, who's our healthcare editor, has been on top of this beat. And it's just remarkable how many of these stories you see across the country, how they duplicate themselves. This very same kind of scenario where you have the man is a football player or is some valued in the community, takes advantage of a woman, rapes her, and then the community rallies around the rapist and blames the victim for what happened to her.
Yeah, it's sick.
Part of American culture at this point. And this girl is a hero to the first order, in my opinion, because there's so many scenarios we see in American society where people just don't understand how much damage victim blaming does because they're not used to it being any other way. It is really scary.
I having seen her on TV give some interviews here and there, I mean, the poise, the maturity of this 14-year-old girl is staggering.
Yeah. It's remarkable.
Staggering. Daisy Coleman is her name. If you're not familiar, check her out and get up to speed on that case. Well, Igor, I appreciate it, man. We're out of time.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Good to see you.
Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates in for Bill. We'll be back with more after this.
Is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot. I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at Facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn.
My name is Clinton Yates.
And we are filling in for Bill today. Going to be here for another hour and a half or so. So thank you so much for tuning in on your radio or live streaming video at TawkrTV. That's youtube.com/TawkrTV, TawkrTV. Check that out. So with all the focus on Obamacare website, the shutdown that was over Obamacare, we wanted to talk to National Journal's healthcare reporter, Catherine Hollander, who joins us on the phone right now. Catherine, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
You can follow her at HollanderCB on Twitter. That's HollanderCB on Twitter, or at nationaljournal.com. So let's start, first of all, with the president yesterday. Did he solve all the problems with the healthcare.gov website yesterday? Is that over and done with now?
That is not over and done with. So what he did do was he acknowledged the problems. You know, he stood up and said, no one's madder than me about the fact the website doesn't work. And he said, you know, that means it's going to get fixed. But in the meantime, we'd really like it if you called, you know, if you knew about the alternatives, which is to call in or to sign up in person, and that to know that folks are working around the clock to fix the problems.
The thing that the big question I had after it was over is he didn't really explain what the big problem was, but he did defend the healthcare law, which I think is sort of a lose-win there.
Proposition.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't get into any of sort of the technical explanations for what's going on with the website. That's something that people are still figuring out. Initially, the White House had said these problems are due to the high volume of users. You know, in the initial week, we'll really get things rolling fast. It's not going to be a problem. And now it's looking like the fixes are much bigger than that. On Sunday, the Department of Health and Human Services announced that they were bringing in the best and the brightest tech minds from the public and private sector to work on the problem, which indicates that it's a bit bigger than it was initially billed as.
Well, speaking of the Health and Human Services, I mean, where do you think Sebelius goes next in this story? I mean, what is on deck for her in terms of going in front of Congress or in terms of other people who have called for her to resign?
Yes. So some Republican members of Congress have already been calling for her resignation. She is expected to appear before the House Energy and Commerce Committee next week, so that will be sort of the first time that we'll really hear from Sebelius about the law's rollout. She's done a few events touting the law since the exchanges opened on October 1, but next week will really be the first chance to hear from her specifically about, you know, what happened and what's likely to come next.
One of the interesting things that I thought happened is when the healthcare.gov website went live, it was during the shutdown.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the major problems that the website had were masked by the fact that we were in a shutdown. So I think the president got lucky on that front, and also because of the shutdown, because it was over healthcare, popularity for the healthcare law, the Obamacare law, sort of went up. And so now, as we start to gear up for some 2014 and 2016 even, how is this going to play around the country if Democrats are going to run on health care?
Yeah, and you're right that it was sort of a blessing that in the first few weeks of the rollout, the front page story was not the glitches on the website, it was the shutdown. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough time to fix those glitches, and so now they are front and center, and I know Republicans have said that they plan to make Obamacare a very big issue in 2014. Democrats have so far mostly made the point that, we think this will be ironed out by then. People will have the product. They'll like the product. This isn't really going to be as big of a deal as Republicans say that it will be right now. And it really seems like it's just kind of wait and see. I mean, we don't yet know how the glitches in these early weeks are going to affect the number of people who enroll for the law, the kind of people who enroll. The administration is really looking for young, healthy people to sign up under the exchanges to help keep costs down for everyone. There's a concern that if these problems really stretch on for a few weeks, that those people might be exactly the people most discouraged because they sort of have the least motivation to sign up in the first place.
Listen, you cover healthcare, but how much do you think the average person in America really understands about the way all of this or any of this really works at all?
Anecdotally, I don't think people are really into the nitty-gritty of what's going on with healthcare and sort of all the ins and outs that we follow so closely in Washington.
Do you think that that's part of a problem? I mean, in terms of what, in terms of being able to get messages out, in terms of being able to sort of communicate what, I guess, the goal of Obamacare is even about?
Absolutely. And I mean, there's been a lot of messaging from Republicans and from Democrats that are saying very different things. So I think that if you're not sort of following this very closely, it's really hard to get a hold of what's actually happening. And I know that over the summer, some of the folks that I spoke with who had worked on the Medicare Part D rollout, the prescription drug benefit in 2005, said, the administration really waited a long time to get messaging on the Affordable Care Act. The counter-argument, which the administration might make, is that you don't want to start telling people about this great product that they can't actually buy for months and months. And, October 1 was the first day that people could actually sign up for insurance. Mm-hmm. So it's tough to strike that balance of, when do you start really pushing this? But polling right before the exchanges opened indicated that there was still a lot of public confusion about, what Obamacare was and whether it had been repealed by the Supreme Court even in 2012.
The fear that I have is one that was brought up by our guest yesterday, Kate Nocera from BuzzFeed, about how there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be waiting until the very last minute to go to this website and try and get enrolled. And if there is a surge of traffic to try and get enrolled,
we'll be in the same place.
The White House really better hope that they have all those glitches and that the best and the brightest they brought on for this tech surge have fixed the problem.
Yes, and the good news is that they have until the end of March for open enrollment this year, so they do have some time. But folks kind of say the clock is ticking. The longer that these stretch on, the more discouraged people will be from buying insurance. And I know that the Congressional Budget Office estimated that 7 million people would sign up on the exchanges in 2014. So that's kind of the benchmark everyone will be using and looking at come the end of March to see sort of how successful this has been and how much the glitches might have impacted people's willingness to sign up.
National Journal healthcare reporter Catherine Hollander joining us here on the Bill Press Show. I'm Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates from the Washington Post sitting in today. So, Catherine, let me ask you about this other story that you had out last week about the sequester. Remember the sequester?
Yeah, I know,
it
right?
Used to be like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
At one point, they were trying to call it the Obama-quester. I mean, you remember that whole fight? I mean, it's been a while since we've talked about that, but you have a piece about how the sequester can still be terrible. We're still not out of the woods with that, huh?
We're still not out of the woods with that. There's more fiscal talks to come. This will once again be an issue. Democrats have wanted to walk back the sequester cuts that went into effect last spring. Republicans have said some Republicans have said they hope to spread them around so that they don't fall so heavily on defense spending. This is really going to be an issue to watch at the end of this year as these next budget talks get underway.
Can I just bring up quickly that the art on the story for that particular, it's this executioner guy with this monster sickle and a hood over his head. It is terrifying.
It is terrifying.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
All right, National Journal healthcare reporter Catherine Hollander, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
You can follow her on Twitter at HollanderCB, HollanderCB, or online at the website nationaljournal.com. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates, and we've got a lot more to talk about here next, so stay tuned.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV, this is The Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Racing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn.
I am Clinton Yates.
We are filling in for Bill today. Make sure you're watching the show to get the full experience, the AV experience of the Bill Press Show.
See my wallet.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Go to youtube.com/TawkrTV, TawkrTV. You can watch the show there. But yesterday we talked to Travis Waldron from Think Progress. he just tweeted out a little bit of trivia. Tomorrow night is Game 1 of the World Series. It's the Cardinals and the Red Sox. They played each other in 2004 in the World Series. And the seventh inning stretch of Game 4 was sung by...
I got to get a hint.
One of the biggest bands of that time, their lead singer, of that particular era.
2004?
2004.
Biggest bands of...
The seventh inning stretch?
2004. The Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Nelly?
Not Nelly. Not Nelly.
Kanye?
Not Kanye. Think bands. Creed's Scott Stapp.
Right. Oh,
wow.
Creed's
and it was a
Scott
total disaster
Stapp.
from what I
Mess.
recall.
It was a mess.
With arms wide
That
open.
was like... Because after that, they sort of hit the brakes, man.
Right.
And right into a wall.
Seventh inning stretch at the
Can I
World Series.
take you higher?
That was the one.
Wow.
That was the one.
Yeah, I would have not have remembered. If you told me Marlins fan, I would have remembered that because he was big on that.
I will say, I will take the rap for listening to a lot of crappy music in my day. I never got on the Creed bandwagon.
No.
I never
Who
got on
was
the
on?
Creed.
I mean, well, I guess a lot of people were on the Creed
I mean, some
bandwagon.
people that have now grown up to have like decent musical taste.
Right.
Can we say that Creed was that day's Nickelback?
No, because I don't think
Weren't Nickelback and Creed out at the same time?
They kind of were. And then, but then Nickelback just sort of, Creed just sort of fell apart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like Nickelback kept putting out.
And Creed had the whole
music.
God factor in there as well that I think turned a lot of people off.
They were
for
big on the
whatever
Christian
reason.
rock charts. And then they broke off, and there was that band Alter Bridge, which broke off from Creed.
Wow,
You know
dude,
way
you
too
were
much,
getting
dude. You know way
into
too much
tunnels.
about bro rock.
Sorry.
I'm going to tell you, like, I didn't know that, and I know a lot of stuff about, like, I follow even bad music, but you just blew my mind.
legitimately just shocked both of us.
Whoa. What was the name of the band?
I think it was called Alter Bridge.
No, you that it was called
I think it was called. I don't know. Look at the tattoo you have above your ass. Does it
Don't
say
even
Alter
try
Bridge?
to walk back from that.
I'm going to have to look this up.
Yeah.
Please
I'll have
do.
to look this up on my iPod
Wow.
and see if that's what it's called. All right. Well, anyway, shout out to Scott Stapp.
Yeah, and Alter Bridge.
And Alter Bridge. I
Whoever
don't
they
think
are.
he's going to be singing at this next World Series. So switching topics.
Yes, switching gears, thankfully.
It seems like every week, right, we get like another just groundbreaking story on the fight for marriage equality in this country. And yesterday was just awesome because you could say maybe Chris Christie is making it clear that he's running for president, but whatever his motive is, he yesterday had his acting attorney John Hoffman, or acting attorney general John Hoffman, withdraw New Jersey's appeal to uphold the ban on same-sex marriages. Gay people, gay marriages in New Jersey, A-okay as far as Chris Christie's concerned.
It's a move he had to make. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's one of those things where as far as Republicans are concerned, not just is he a guy that's willing to work with the other side of the aisle, but he's considered a pretty sort of, well, at least a more progressive mind than a lot of other people. And I think that this is sort of that last thing where unless you want to define yourself as staunchly on the super right, it's not a battle worth fighting because, regardless of whether or not you think it's right or wrong, the public has spoken on, I think, a certain amount of acceptability, especially in his jurisdiction. And that's the main thing. In New Jersey, this is obviously not something that's going to ever go back to what it was.
The fight for marriage equality in terms of convincing people will obviously go on, but it's just one of those things that even long-term Republicans just sort of accept now. Like, this fight, it's not over, but it's been won.
Yeah,
it's been won. You'll have holdouts, but this fight's been won.
Right, and it's hard to, again, we're talking about marriage equality. It's hard to fight against people having the right to love each other. Just on a basic human level, that is a very difficult thing to defend at this day and age in terms of where we are in society.
So yesterday in New Jersey, the soon-to-be sworn-in senator from New Jersey, Cory Booker, he was officiating a gay marriage between his longtime friends, gentlemen by the name of Orville Bell and Joseph Panacidi.
It was the first, right?
It was the first.
Yeah.
They've been waiting to get married for 15 years.
Wow.
Now, if you can if you can stand being with someone for 15 years, like I like this mentality, right? Like we've got it wrong where you meet somebody, you fall in love, you get married, you have a big old party, and then like there goes, like you should have the big long party at the end of 15 years of being together.
It's true.
Right? Like that's when you should have a big celebration.
Right, for longevity.
Yeah. So like they've got it right in that term. So they've been married 15 years, and it was officiated by Cory Booker and a heckler in the audience, which I didn't think this actually happened when people say "speak now or forever hold your peace."
Yeah, like who? Yes,
some Yahoo actually spoke now.
That means he went out of his way to wait down there, and watch all these people, and then it's ridiculous. Anyway,
so we've got the audio of when this happened. So Cory Booker says, "Speak now or forever hold your peace."
And Orville should not be married. Speak now or forever hold your peace. This is unlawful in the sight of God. Well, sir. Would you please remove that person? Please remove that person. And I remind people, and not hearing any substantive worthy objections.
Bravo.
Awesome.
Yeah, bravo.
That is awesome.
There's nothing better than a succinct intellectual takedown of somebody that has gone to such boorish.
I now will proceed.
Yeah.
Who's gone to such boorish, tactics to try to make a point.
That was positively Samuel L. Jackson-esque there.
Exactly.
Well, allow me to retort.
Right.
Allow me to proceed.
No, I loved it. And if you see the video too, he was so happy for his friends. It was just a really cool moment. And it's again to think that somebody who apparently has such an issue is going to wait around, spend all their time just for that moment. I mean, come on, people.
Yeah,
get your lives together.
That's a real live walking, talking dinosaur that you just heard from.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously. All right, 53 minutes past the hour. Congratulations, New Jersey. They have as close to marriage equality as they've ever been. Quick break. Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates filling in for Bill Press today. We'll be right back.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show live on Free Speech TV. Remember, the third hour of Free Speech, you are not going to be able to see us, but you can watch us at youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKR-TV. We hope you all make the jump and join us over there because we've got a great hour. The Associated Press has fired 2 employees over a mistake that they made. Should they have been? We'll talk all about it. Plus, Huffington Post Elise Foley. My name is Peter Ogburn, in with Clinton Yates on The Bill Press Show.
I wish I was in school.
If only I had a math test today.
Or a book report to give.
I wish I was in school. I'll stay after class. I'll clean the chalkboard.
I'll do extra homework. I'll skip recess.
I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
I really wish I was in school.
School ends, but free lunches for your kids don't have to. Find your local food bank at feedingamerica.org/summer meals for help. Together, we're feeding America.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates sitting in for Bill. So we were just talking about the Creed and Alter Bridge. We'll get to the president's schedule in just a second.
Bro rock.
It's short. So I'm going through my iPod to see what what the most embarrassing thing is, and I finally just hit it. I went all the way to the D's. The very best of Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Wow.
Full album.
That's not embarrassing. I'd be proud to have that. Hall & Oates, great band from the 80s.
The 80s.
What's wrong with Hall & Oates?
You know what I'm talking about.
It would be embarrassing if you had, go to the H's. Do you have Hanson in there? Then we got to talk.
There's nothing. There's no pride in having a full Hall & Oates album in my iPod.
I got no problem with it.
I'm looking.
Is there a statement to be made that they're sort of the original bro rock guys on some level?
I can see that. I can see that. I'm telling you, I got a pretty clean iPod on that front. No, there's nothing in here that I'm too. Oops, nope, sorry. There's the Entourage soundtrack. Whoops, put that down. But I made it to the E's.
Victory!
All right, sorry. So I found that. Hey, what's the president up to today? Well, not a whole lot. Let's just look at what we've got here. The president, the vice president will receive the daily briefing at noon today in the Oval Office, and Jay Carney gives his press briefing at 12:30 p.m. today. Other than that, all quiet on the White House front, man.
Not much going on whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean,
they're rocking out to Alter Bridge.
Yeah, they're Alter Bridge or Hall & Oates or Hanson or whatever they got. Maybe the Entourage soundtrack. I mean, I think he said all he's going to say about
I don't think you're going to get a whole lot more out of him about it.
Yeah, at healthcare.gov. I think the next thing you're going to see is, hey, we fixed it. Now you can go back again. All right, we've got one more exciting hour coming up. We'll be talking to Huffington Post's Elise Foley. It's Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates in for Bill Press. Stay tuned.
This is the Bill Press Show. Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Happy Tuesday, October 22nd. Welcome to The Bill Press Show. Heard on your favorite progressive radio station, heard on iHeartRadio, heard on the TuneIn app, and seen live this hour on youtube.com/TawkrTV, TawkrTV. I am not Bill Press. Clearly, my name is Peter Ogburn.
My name is Clinton Yates.
I'm joined by Clinton Yates, my buddy. Whenever I fill in, I call on Clinton.
I appreciate it,
From
man.
the Washington Post, comes and gets in here early, hangs out for all 3 hours. So thank you for being here, man.
Yo, I love being
appreciate
here.
it.
It's a fun time.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've
I have to
talked a
put
lot-
my sweater on for this hour, by the way. It's got colder in here.
It got a little chilly, didn't it?
I don't know what it was.
We got the radio thing. You know, we got to keep everything nice and cool. If it gets hot, it overheats.
Yeah.
Seriously. There was, like, when I used to work in the other room over there, we used to have to keep it super, super cold. And it would be July, and I'd be rolling in a sweater.
Makes sense.
You know? Speaking of which, that other room that I'm referring to is the one where Dan Hitting currently is sitting.
Good morning.
But not for much longer, by the way. He's leaving. I don't know if I've mentioned that.
It's going to be a roadie on the Creed tour.
That's it. Yeah. He's dropping out and following Creed.
I do. I'm going to be a roadie. Exactly. I have an update, actually.
Fabulous.
So Creed got back together in 2009 after breaking up in 2004, and they put out an album in 2009 called Full Circle because they came full circle.
Gotcha.
And
is that why they called it Full Circle? Huh.
Weird.
That's an interesting tidbit.
In 2012, there was talk of another album, but then Alter Bridge got back together. So Creed's plans got put on hold.
America, you have now found the worst music fan ever.
And Alter Bridge is the guys from Creed without Scott Stapp.
I couldn't even say those sentences without my head exploding.
This, of course,
congratulations.
comes back to our conversation from last hour where we mentioned that Scott Stapp sang the Take Me Out to the Ball Game in the 2004 World Series. Don't think he's doing that this year.
No.
Alicia Cruz is screening your calls. She'll get back to that in just a moment. Alicia, can you go get me some duct tape so I can wrap my head to keep it from exploding if I have to hear Dan talk about Creed anymore? Wow. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. Alicia's there screening your calls, and keeping us on the video is Cyprian Bolding. He's doing the best he can with what he's got, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you're watching youtube.com/TawkrTV, TawkrTV. So by the way, I was looking at my iPod again to find out like the worst thing I've got. This is pretty bad. So I've got Kendrick Lamar, which is good.
K-Dot.
And then right after that, Kenny Loggins and Kenny Rogers.
Can't hate on Kenny Rogers in my household.
No, look, don't get me wrong. I've got Kenny Rogers, and however, I got the worst Kenny Rogers song ever, "Coward of the County."
I don't go song for song on Kenny Rogers like that, but I am a fan.
Okay. All right, so I get a little bit of a pass then. All right. So we're going to be talking to Elise Foley from the Huffington Post in just a little while. Plus, a very interesting story yesterday that we talked about originally when the AP misreported a major detail of Terry McAuliffe's campaign. We got an outcome yesterday, and I'm not sure if I'm okay with it. I want to get your take on it at 866-55-PRESS. We'll talk about that. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Other headlines making news on this Tuesday. Michael Vick may have served his time according to the law, but not so much according to fans. The Philadelphia Eagles quarterback who served prison time for dogfighting tops Forbes magazine's new list of the NFL's most disliked players. Number 2 is Manti Te'o, the rookie with the San Diego Chargers.
I don't get that.
For having the imaginary girlfriend. Number 3 is the aggressive Ndamukong Suh of the Detroit Lions, who has been fined over $200,000 now for violent actions. Ben Roethlisberger and Mark Sanchez to round out the top 5.
I'm not sure that I get Mark Sanchez either. The guy was just a not great quarterback who took the Jets to a couple of successful seasons, but that was it. I'm not sure what's hateable about Mark Sanchez on any level.
I think they pulled Jets fans just for that part of it, because I know Jets fans. Hey, really quickly, I don't mean to hijack Full Court Press, but I just saw that because I had to get this story in. So this Jets fan, when the Jets beat the Patriots, there was an altercation afterwards, and this dude, big dude, punched a woman, a Patriots fan, big Jets fan, punched a Patriots fan, a woman, and they were trying to identify him. They identified him yesterday. Not only is he a dude that punched a woman, he's a convicted murderer.
What?
And his father is a police officer, so he only served like 3 years of murder.
Lesser down on the scale of those offenses. He was also wearing a Wayne Corbett jersey.
True. True. I was thinking, oh my God, Wayne Corbett just punched a woman. No. Yeah, what a throwback, man.
Wow.
Anyway, I had to get that in because it was crazy.
Sure. Well, staying on the football team, on the football theme, we talked about this yesterday. The Grambling State football players are back on the playing field after staging a walkout and forfeit last week. USA Today Sports reporting they held a private meeting with their ex-coach who was recently fired. They all sat down yesterday. Doug Williams reminded them why they were all there in the first place, which was just to play football. So they're taking the high road, apparently, and will. No answer yet from the university to the questions about the long bus rides and the poor practice facilities, but Grambling is hosting Texas Southern this weekend.
With all due respect to Doug Williams, no, they're not just there to play football.
No,
they're there to
not.
go to school and to play football and to grow as human beings. And you can't do that when you're spending all your time trying to ensure your own safety while you're playing football. That's ridiculous.
It's student athletes.
Yeah.
Student athletes.
Yeah, Doug, I'm sorry. Doug Williams is way wrong on that one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And a big celebrity proposal last night. Kanye West rented out AT&T Park in San Francisco last night. It's where the Giants baseball team plays, and he proposed to Kim Kardashian. E! Online reports she said yes in front of many friends and family. It's her third marriage, his first. The proposal comes just a few months after the birth of their baby, Northwest.
I need some more details on this because I don't understand why you rent out a ballpark.
Because he's Kanye West.
Yeah, but I'm saying, was he performing there prior to? You ever been to a ballpark when there's no baseball game being played, or there's some other event that takes up half the field?
Yeah.
It sucks. It's weird.
It's really
it's
weird.
not the kind of thing that you would do unless you had to, or unless you otherwise presumed you were going to be able to fill it. That's a strange setup, in my opinion.
I'm trying to think of what else would be appropriate for Kanye West. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I mean,
a really weird renting out of a giant space that he doesn't fill, only to keep people and family in the stands.
That's odd.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Sounds about
fair
enough. All right. So a couple of weeks ago, or I guess a week ago, we talked about this story. So the Associated Press, which is not like the Daily Caller or Drudge or Huffington Post, they don't come at it from a certain agenda, right? They are right down the middle news. So they really goofed up. They really screwed up. They put out a story that said that Terry McAuliffe had lied to an investigator in a federal fraud case. That was the story. They put that out there. Terry McAuliffe had lied to a federal investigator, which would be really bad.
Yeah.
Terry McAuliffe is running for governor of Virginia against Ken Cuccinelli. It took about an hour and a half for the AP to completely retract that article, and it turned out basically what happened is there was a construction worker who had the initials TM, and that's what they went with.
Yeah.
And that's who it was. It was not Terry McAuliffe, someone totally different.
It was a very short report when it first came out. We're not talking about some long expose that turned out to be wrong. It was just a short blurb, but in this day and age in the news cycle, a short blurb, especially when you're 6-7 weeks away from an election, that obviously gets turned into a huge story. And it went everywhere immediately, and they had to immediately turn around and retract it. It was a huge, embarrassing gaffe for the AP, no doubt about it.
Big screw up. And the reporter that put that out there, veteran political reporter, Bob Lewis,
owned
up to it. I apologize. I'm sorry. I screwed up. They suspended him, and they retracted the story, and we weren't sure what was going to happen after that. Turns out yesterday, they fired Bob Lewis. They fired him. That dude's been around for a long time. And he's not one of these reporters that has a high profile. He's a very down the middle, work his ass off, get it done.
He's one of those guys that if you know about Virginia politics or you've covered Virginia politics, he's simply somebody in the know. I mean, Bob Lewis is Bob Lewis, and then there's everybody else on a certain level because he's been with the AP and he does this. And listen, in the journalism world and in the Virginia world, this was stunning.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And I'm still kind of surprised at how this has gone down because, at a day and age when some of the sites that you mentioned, people get things wrong.
Yep.
Kind of a lot.
Yeah, it happens.
And for a guy like Bob Lewis to get canned over something, you had to think that there was pressure from somewhere outside of that newsroom. Maybe not, but it just seemed really strange for that guy to lose his job over something that effectively was a mistake.
Here's what I suspect happened. And this isn't unheard of.
Right.
The Cuccinelli campaign, because you got to remember, this is a hotly contested governor's race, and it's close.
Yeah.
And it looks now like McAuliffe is starting to pull away.
And it hasn't exactly been the cleanest of races.
It has not.
Between both candidates.
No, it has not. And I would imagine that the Cuccinelli campaign went to the AP and said, hey, we've got this story here. This is Terry McAuliffe. And if you have been a reporter as long as Bob Lewis has, you should know better.
Yeah.
You should know better than to put that out there as a story without confirming other details. And I don't know, maybe it's just the culture that he felt like he had to keep up with some of these other people that put stuff out so quickly.
It wasn't just him that got fired, though. It was also his editor.
His editor.
You don't know, and I don't
Dina
like,
Potter.
I don't like to speculate on, what they might have done or not done together, but that's always an interesting thing, too, when an editor gets fired in tandem with a reporter, because you've got to presume that whatever the case was, they both might have presumed it was right and were involved in a lack of confirmation or what have you with the vetting process of the information.
So my question is, should he have been fired? And we'll take your calls on this at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. Just to bullet point it, he wrote a story saying Terry McAuliffe lied to a federal investigator, retracted it about 90 minutes later. He was put on suspension. He's now been fired. Do you think he deserved that firing? Bob McDonnell, actually, the current governor of Virginia, tweeted out yesterday, Bob Lewis and Dina Potter that's the editor that was fired, and Dina Potter have always been fair, tough, and smart. Virginians deserve dedicated reporters like them. That's the conservative governor of Virginia. Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat, also tweeting, big loss for Virginia. Bob Lewis is an even-handed, talented reporter and a class act. So bipartisan support there for the veteran reporter, Bob Lewis.
You read Dylan Byers' piece, too, as well. He interviewed a lot of other journalists who were just like, are you kidding me? Like, how does that happen? And I think that's pretty much the sentiment of a lot of people in the business. It's just like, wow, if he can get canned for that, you know what I mean? Everybody should be on alert, with, in some minds, probably rightfully so.
You brought up a good point earlier in the day when we were talking about this, about how things have changed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, what I was saying is that in an era of mistakes and being able to fix things, this isn't that big of a deal. But if this happens 15, 20 years ago, somebody is definitely getting canned, and there's no doubt about it. So I think that part of that plays into it. We all sort of look at things as like, all right, well, if it was a mistake versus some sort of outright plagiarism or, cheating or effectively lying, based on what he did know and didn't know, it's different. But I think, there's something about, I don't know, there's something about a firing in today's media society that always surprises people, especially when it's over something, I hate to say this, as simple as facts.
Yeah.
It's weird.
There's a saying that like I've learned, right? Like if you screw up, own up to it.
Yeah.
If you try and cover anything up, right, like you're just going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
You're just going to get in trouble. So just own up to it. So he owned up to it pretty quickly, and he didn't keep his job, which I hate to hear. So your take on that, 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. I think that it was an overreaction on the AP's part. I don't think that he should have been fired. What do you think? 866-55-PRESS. Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates in for Bill. We'll be right back, taking your calls.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn.
Mine's is Clinton Yates.
We are here hosting for Bill today. Make sure you're watching the show at youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKR. By the way, this just sort of slipped under my radar, but I meant to get it in earlier. But Yesterday, Netflix, the online streaming or DVD service, whichever you subscribe to, they've overtaken HBO in terms of paid subscribers, people who subscribe to the service.
I am an example of that.
I didn't see that coming, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it would be this fast.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, Netflix are still trying to sort of make the transition from like the DVD to the online streaming
I would
thing.
disagree with you on that.
Okay.
I don't know anybody who's getting DVDs from Netflix.
Well, I would say it hasn't been that long since they've made that jump. So,
no, that's correct.
Yeah.
But I think they're moving exponentially upward.
Yeah. So the fact that they've already taken HBO in that sort of short period of time, I find to be pretty surprising.
Certainly impressive.
We've been talking about getting rid of Netflix or getting rid of HBO in favor of just having Netflix. So cool. Good stuff. And they're putting out good original content now.
Good shows.
All right. So on the AP story, they fired their veteran political reporter, Bob Lewis, because of a screw up he made. Should he have been fired? He apologized. He owned up to it. Taking your calls at 866-55-PRESS. We've got Zeke in Dublin, California. Zeke, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey there.
Just a real quick comment. In a day where watching Fox News and then watching fact checkers debunk just about everything they say has become kind of like a national sport, a comedic national sport. This guy that owns up to making a mistake and with some integrity and whatnot, getting fired, I think is ludicrous.
Fair enough, man. This is what I'm saying. It's weird because you watch people make mistakes all day, every day, and it's not a big deal, but this happens, and all of a sudden he's out. Very strange.
And I do hate that it's become this situation where you can screw something up royally and then you just sort of move on from it,
Right.
I mean, that's just sort of where we are these days.
I just want to quote something that Politico's Dylan Byers has on his piece. He talked to Amy Gardner, a colleague of mine at the Washington Post, and she says, quote, "I'm just sick about it. Bob is one of the most respected, decent, hardworking, dogged reporters I've ever worked with." And, she goes on to say he made a mistake, but he admitted it. There are certain things where we shouldn't have tolerance, cheating, lying, plagiarism, infractions, but a mistake is a different beast from a lie or a stolen bit of work. At what point does a mistake become a non-negotiable or a fireable offense? That's a good question.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And unless we've seen some sort of malicious intent on the part of Bob Lewis, I don't think that he deserves to have gotten fired. Let's go to John in Chicago. John, welcome to the show.
Good morning, gentlemen. I think the real issue is you got to follow the money. The AP brand is unassailable when it comes to opinion or perspective. Every other news site you guys talked about is primarily opinion, but the AP their entire brand is unbiased. At least that's what they attest to.
Yeah, but it's not like this is the first mistake that the AP has made that they have retracted and haven't fired anybody over. That's the thing that makes it so strange.
I think the distinction is, however, libel. Is that if they knew it was a mistake, they didn't do whatever they could to correct it, they'd be considered liable for it.
Yeah.
I understand, but it's not like they tried to defend it. I mean, they took it down, or
Almost
they apologized with
immediately.
a quickness.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an hour and a half. I mean, that's pretty fast considering it's the AP.
Right, I agree.
And sort of the news source of record for a lot of journalists. So
there's a good journalist out there.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sure they'll both land. They'll land just fine. Huffington Post's Elise Foley joins us in studio next. Plus, we have job numbers.
This is the Bill Press Show. Like politics? Then like The Bill Press Show on Facebook. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn.
Mine is Clinton Yates.
We are sitting in for Bill Press today. He'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry. We've seen I've gotten the hate mail. Everyone loves Clinton.
Well, I'm doing my best.
Everyone loves Clinton. Me, not so much.
I am
It's
verified,
I am as God made me. Okay? I'm here. What can I do? 33 minutes past the hour. It's Friday, right? Because we got the job numbers. Isn't that how it works? Last Friday?
Yes.
Isn't that how it works, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah, is that confirmed?
Yes.
No, it's Tuesday, October 22nd, and to make up for the fact that the jobs report was missed due to the shutdown, they just released, the Department of Labor just released the unemployment numbers. So 148,000 new jobs added, which is good news. Unemployment is down to 7.2%. They had forecasted 180,000 jobs would be added. So overall, this is a fine report. It's not bad.
Comme ci, comme ça.
Yeah. I mean, look, the unemployment rate dropped. So as far as I'm concerned, that's good news. But more importantly, yesterday the president talked about healthcare, healthcare.gov, and what happens next. We brought in Elise Foley from Huffington Post. She joins us in studio. Elise, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in.
She's verified too, by the way.
I was just about to say, damn it, Clinton. So, by the way,
important to know.
An absolute must follow on Twitter at Elise Foley, ELISEFOLEY, Elise Foley. When Arthur Delaney was here earlier today, he and Clinton were talking about how they're both verified.
And so it was a bit we were running earlier, and so
you know what?
It's important. It's a big thing to brag about.
You know what?
That's all I have.
I don't want any verification. Don't want it.
Rebel.
You can have it, Twitter. You can have it. That's right. What are the perks of being verified?
You get to hang out and say with other people, we're verified. That's the only perk.
Oh, so you guys get to be smug a-holes. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Basically.
Congrats.
It's all we got.
Probably do it before.
Yeah.
Nope. Can't do it.
Anyway.
All right. So yesterday, the president, speaking in the Rose Garden, came out and defended Obamacare, but also had to say, the delivery method, not so much. I don't think. What was your takeaway, Elise, of the whole speech? I don't think it was that great, honestly. I don't think he really gave us a lot to work with.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that all the experts were kind of saying, okay, nothing really new came out of this. And it's kind of embarrassing when you're the president and you're having to go out and give this speech and start pitching a phone number, a 1-800 number, like you're on some infomercial. I mean, telling people to go ahead and call in. And I mean, I guess a millennial. I'm one of those people that they'd want to sign up if I didn't have insurance. I don't call and get things. No, I want to do it online.
That's right.
People aren't satisfied with that. And so going on, TV and giving that pitch didn't seem all that convincing to me.
Somebody on Twitter shot us a note earlier that said that they should have, and this makes a lot of sense, I think, to make an app.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you were going to say the phone number running along the bottom of the screen.
They should have done that too.
That would have been pretty good as well.
Call now for a special deal.
Yeah,
but full QVC style, of a little ticker of who signed up as it's going.
But an app would be smart. That would be a good idea.
Right? Like I would download the hell out of an app.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the app would work either. The track record's not great.
Yeah. Good point. They should put Mitt Romney's team in front of the app. They have misspellings and late notifications and things like that.
Right.
But I do think, Dan, if you're listening, can you grab that clip where he talked about the product is good, the second clip? Because I thought this was a good defense of it.
The product is good. The health insurance that's being provided is good. It's high quality and it's affordable. People can save money.
So I'm wondering if that message is getting through more than the message of the website's broken. I'm not sure that it is right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, you're seeing interest, obviously, but it's unclear whether those are people who are coming back over and over because they can't do it. I think, some people like to wait till the last minute on anything. So some people probably aren't even bothering to look until it gets closer. But I think that all this does is sort of add Republican fuel to the fire so that they can say, look, this thing came out too early. We should delay it more. And it's harder and harder for the administration to argue back and say that that's not right, that we should delay it for, the American people.
Yeah.
I think that, one of the points you brought up, which is what Kate Nassera said before, which is that the fear is that those people that do wait till the last minute, let's say they do say we come out, they get it fixed, and then you wait till the last minute again, but for whatever reason, because you can't predict how it's going to be at the end. Is there potential in your mind that this in fact gets worse than it already is for the White House?
I mean, the insurers right now are saying, okay, this is sort of okay that we're having all these errors, that we're getting things wrong and having to call people personally, but only because we have so few of them. I mean, what if they fix the front end but not the back end, and insurers are still getting these, crazy things that need to be fixed? They don't have time to call if way more people are, going through the system. They don't have time to call everybody. So you sort of have to fix all of it. It's not just the stuff that people are seeing when they log on. There are just so many issues with it that you kind of wonder how quickly they'll be able to do it.
Right.
There's an interesting one of the problems that they have. Yeah, this is the one I was looking for. One specialist looked at the website, said that as many as 5 million lines of software code may need to be rewritten before the website runs properly. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
5 million sounds like a lot. I could be wrong. I mean,
does to me. I don't know anything about coding.
This is part of the issue, and this is what when we talked about this before on the show yesterday, before the president came out, I was like, I would love to see him explain something about the actual mechanics of a website if that's really what's important, but he didn't do any of that yesterday. It was just sort of I kind of felt his tone was a little bit, listen, it's fine. It was a little bit paternal, like don't mess with me on this kind of deal where, your dad opens up the hood of the car, doesn't really know what's wrong, but tells you to go get something from the garage, you know what I mean, while he looks through the manual, and I was like, well, at least tell me what's in the manual so that I can help fix it. But I didn't feel that there was much of that at all yesterday. It was very odd.
And if that's not the president's role and that's their argument, then they referred questions to HHS, and then a lot of people were having trouble getting HHS to answer them. Yeah. Somebody should be able to answer them that, is a spokesperson for the government, even if it's not, even if they don't want Obama out there going into, these details of website design.
Right. Okay, so you mentioned HHS. So Kathleen Sebelius, a lot of Republicans have now sort of come out and said
set their sights.
Exactly. They are going to be coming after her. John Boehner says she should testify. They have said they intend for her to testify. And I just wonder how much of this is going to fall into her.
Yeah, I mean, she's supposed to go on, I think, testify October 30th. So that's next week.
Next Wednesday?
Yeah. So I think that could be helpful, but it's likely, I'm sure, that she's walking into some total lion's den. Sam Stein, one of the Huffington Post people, was joking yesterday that how likely is it that a member goes and puts a computer in front of her and is like, all right, sign up for healthcare, which would be
nightmare.
Horrible.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm sure people would object to that. I don't even know, what the rules are.
Someone will try it. I would not be
It's
surprised
a great
if someone
idea.
tried it. It really
I feel
is.
like it's like, oh, Sam.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Nasty.
Yeah.
But speaking of your point earlier about whether or not it's the president's place to talk about certain things, I feel like there's a lot of people that instead of seeing 10 or 15 people behind the president that were apparently successful products or successful people within the healthcare system, have her there. I know she had a previous engagement somewhere, but I feel like if the president says, "Hey, look, we got this thing. I've kind of got to address it. At least show up and show face with me." That would have done a lot for her, because as we get further away from yesterday's presser, I think it does worse for Sebelius in terms of not just the rhetoric, but in terms of the problem potentially getting worse. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but yeah. I thought she was noticeably absent yesterday in a way that could have been helpful.
Yeah. All right, so there's a lot more to talk about besides just this. I want to talk about where we go from here. The shutdown is over. A lot of people are going to be out already working on re-election. How is Obamacare going to factor into re-election? But more importantly, and where we'll start when we come back here on the Bill Press Show, is what happens next? What is the president going to focus on next? We're talking to Elise Foley from the Huffington Post. Follow her on Twitter at Elise Foley and read her at HuffingtonPost.com. I'm Peter Ogburn. He's Clinton Yates. Quick break. We'll be right back.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show. Follow us on Twitter at BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates sitting in for Bill. Our guest is Elise Foley from the Huffington Post. We're on Twitter at BP Show. At BP Show. By the way, Dan, you do have your defenders out there. G. Kane tweeting, Peter, why are you so damn nasty to Dan? You trash everything he says. You're being a bully. I understand why he's leaving. Dan's leaving us. Next week, is it?
Yeah, Monday. Yeah.
I'm not that nasty to Dan. First of all, we had this whole conversation about your love of the band Creed.
I do not love
the bands that they spawned.
The band Creed.
Fact. You knew about the bands that they had spawned.
I knew about it, but
you had that knowledge at the Reddit.
Yeah,
I did.
You're just trying to act like you didn't. That was totally at top of mind.
Clinton and I follow music pretty closely.
Yes, closer than I do.
And then Dan just sort of drops, oh yeah, after Creed disbanded, they had formed a whole new band called Alter Bridge.
Yep.
Really? You knew that just off the top of your head?
Yep.
So that's why I give Dan.
We literally were both shocked. Like, what did he just say?
I just have random facts of knowledge that just pop out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Farewell.
Yeah, farewell. Don't let the door hit you on the way out there,
All right,
buddy. All right, 47 minutes past the hour. Huffington Post, Elise Foley is in the studio, who I'm sure has much better taste than you, Dan, in terms of music.
I've never heard of that band.
Boom. See?
What's in your iPod right now? iPod, listen to me.
We
iPhone.
Were looking.
I don't have any Creed. I have lots of bad things, but not that.
You got to share, though. This is
Do you have Hanson in your iPhone?
I don't have any Hanson. I
I
think I have one NSYNC song.
Oh, no. Elise.
That's awesome.
This is national.
I'm dating myself, too.
I had a really hard time finding something I was like super, super embarrassed by.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nope. How in the hell did that get? I have a Nick Lachey song in here.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's so much worse than
Nice.
NSYNC.
That wins the day.
That had to be a production thing, because I download music for production stuff.
Oh, right. For production purposes.
What song?
Right.
What's Left of Me? Why would I have ever downloaded that? Holy crap.
Maybe it was just
I have no idea how that got on my phone. I have no idea how that got on my phone. I swear.
You're in a dark place one day.
Just
one day.
Must have been.
One
Listening
day.
to it and crying.
Yeah, exactly.
You have Jessica Simpson on there, too?
No, I'm sure I don't have Jessica Simpson on here. I made it through the J's. There was no on there. All right. It's 49 minutes past the hour. So we're through with the shutdown. Shutdown is over. Mitch McConnell has sort of said we're not going to have that happen again. The Republicans won't let that happen again. I think it damaged their brand too bad. So now, will the president be able to get anything done?
I don't know. I mean, it was hard for him to get anything done before, and now I think House Republicans are even angrier than they've been. You have, Raul Labrador coming out and saying, no, we shouldn't do immigration reform, which is like a Steve King type position. People are just don't want to work with him within the Republican Party, I think more so now than ever. And so you're going to have all these budget fights. You're going to have continued fights over funding the government and the debt ceiling. And so how much time will be wasted by that and how much time will be going into the president's agenda, I don't know.
You know what's funny is the amount of resignation in your voice. Like, oh God.
Oh, I cover immigration. This is a depressing
It
time
really
for me.
is. And there was some talk that the president was going to start working on immigration, tackle immigration.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he'll try. I totally believe he'll try. I'm just, I'm feeling sort of down about its chances right now.
Understandable.
So, I mean, I just don't know what he does then. I mean, because there's an interesting sort of thing going on when we're looking ahead at 2014, right? If Congress is now like record low approvals. And so will these people who everybody hates be reelected? But when you look at them sort of district by district, they're not that unpopular. Like Ted Cruz, they love Ted Cruz. Whereas, nationwide, people don't love Ted Cruz.
Like I was saying before, this is amazing to me. As who is it going to be that's going to be able to convince people that we're all out here for a greater good in America, and it's not just about trying to. I know this sounds somewhat Pollyannish, but I mean, if you look at what has happened with the shutdown, there's going to have to be somebody else that says, "Look, we need to find a way to do this as citizens, not just as lawmakers." Because I mean, obviously, as you stated, if everybody likes their lawmaker back home, but all the lawmakers can't seem to get it together, we're going to have to find a way to make people understand that maybe different lawmakers are in the best interest of everybody involved. And I don't know who that person is going to be. There was a time when most people thought it was going to be the president, but that is clearly no longer the case. And I don't see anybody else on Capitol Hill that can play that role at this point either. It's really, really kind of depressing.
Yeah.
It's 2 days in a row I've said that.
What's the future of Ted Cruz in terms of how he affects the what goes on here?
I mean, I think it depends on how many more people sort of reject his whole deal as just being somebody there to block things versus somebody there to actually do anything. You have a lot of Republicans in the Senate who, just because of the way the body works, see their role as more people who are deal makers. You're not going to get anything done if you're Ted Cruz other than to fight against things as long as Obama is president. But there are a lot of Republicans who love him for that, and they want somebody in there who's doing that. That's what they think is important. So I think Democrats will continue to hate him. Some moderate Republicans will continue to hate him, and the Tea Party Republicans will continue to love him.
He had a big welcome home party last night in Houston, and he opened up by saying, "You may notice that all of the Nigerian email scammers have become a lot less active lately. That's because they've all been hired to run the Obamacare website."
Wow. Seriously?
That is the worst joke. That doesn't make any sense.
No, not remotely.
Not at all. Of course, the crowd cheered. They loved it.
Right. You throw in a semi-African reference to something that's legitimately going wrong. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Exactly.
I'm glad. Well, never mind. I'm glad I didn't know that earlier because I would have been ranting like a maniac.
I just saw that. Isn't that crazy?
Yes, that is absolutely crazy.
All right. Well, we'll take a quick break. Elise Foley, thank you so much for coming in. Huffington Post reporter. You must follow Elise on Twitter at Elise Foley. Very, very funny stuff there, and good commentary on news. Also online at HuffingtonPost.com. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
I'm Peter Ogburn, along with Clinton Yates. We've got one short little segment coming up. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
We've all experienced it. That moment when
Press Show.
Peter Ogburn and Clinton Yates sitting in for Bill. The worst thing I did was admit that I have Nick Lachey on my iPhone.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
So I've been going through mine. I've got probably the most embarrassing thing is tie between Katy Perry, Firework.
That's not
a bad song. I like that song. So there's
that's
that.
Fun.
There's some random Bonnie Raitt song that I don't even know how that got on there. But I'm sort of embarrassed to say that I still have Sublime on my phone because I'm still the guy listening to that band.
That's not Nick Lachey bad. That's bad.
I don't know why.
That's not bad. Why are you knocking yourself for that?
Because Sublime, I mean, rest in peace, Brad, and all that has not been a relevant band in more than a decade and a half. There's no reason for me to be listening to that on any regular basis.
I can tell you this. The last person you want to take advice from on what's good and bad is that kid in there. Damn, I'm telling you.
You have any OAR or?
No, I do not. Not a big OAR guy. I like OAR, but I'm not huge on them.
I'm having a hard time finding anything else. I mean, the Nick Lachey thing is really, really bad.
Kind of hard to live that down.
People are giving me all kinds of grief on Twitter for it. I got Stevie Wonder. Yeah,
Is the Married with Children theme song for Bill?
No, I don't have that actually.
What?
Yeah, there's nothing on here. All right, the Nick Lachey thing is bad, but I'll take that. Robbie Bright says, just heard Peter Ogburn admit to having Nick Lachey tuned in his iPod. Instantly lost massive cool points. I have good stuff on there too. It's not the only thing I have.
Man card has been swiped.
It's not the only thing I have on there. It's just an accident. Anyway, look. Thank you, Clinton.
Yeah, man.
The Washington Post.
Thank you.
Please go follow Clinton on Twitter. He's verified, don't you know? Clinton Yates, at Clinton Yates, YATES. I'm on Twitter, at Peter Ogburn, OGBURN. It's the Bill Press Show. Bill will be back tomorrow. Congressman Keith Ellison will be here. See you then.
This is the Bill Press Show.